So welcome to the Security Sales Training Podcast. Again, the whole point of this program is to provide you as a sales professional or business owner with some really hard-hitting information that you can use right now to improve your results. And today's topic is a super important one. I hear it all the time, is the frustration that a lot of us have with hiring salespeople and getting them productive. How many of you have hired a salesperson or salespeople thinking you've hired a meat eater to come in and produce, only to have them basically take you, not intentionally or unintentionally, but maybe take you for a little bit of a ride, and then nothing happens, right? So if that resonates with you and you're wondering what you can do to hire salespeople to grow your business, this program's for you. So having said that, my pleasure to welcome Brian Silverthorne, who I've known for almost 20 years now. Great individual, expert in this whole area about hiring and making folks productive. So Brian, pleasure to have you here. Welcome to the program.
Thanks, Greg. I appreciate the opportunity to participate in this. It's a subject that's near and dear to my heart, and anything that I can do to help folks be more successful, especially in this arena, I'm happy to do it.
Great. Well, we're going to take full advantage of that. And by the way, I want to point out that Brian is talking to us from his second home in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. So even more, thank you for breaking time away. So just, if you could, just show us all what you just showed me a few minutes ago about what you're doing.
Yeah, sure. I'll give you a quick walk out toward the patio so you can see kind of what things that, what I have to look at.
Yeah,
every
that's
day
terrible.
when I'm working.
Yeah, I feel bad for you. So so you spend half your time in California and the other half down there in Cabo, which is a nice position to be in.
Yeah.
So all right. So obviously Brian knows what he's talking about. So pay close attention as we go through this, because what you're about to learn is going to really have an impact on a very positive impact on your business. So Brian, let's start with we talked about maybe three things that we could talk about that maybe are pitfalls or things to keep in mind, or what I should do. I'm a business owner. I'm talking, Brian, help me out. I've gone through this process. I'm trying to hire people. I've not been successful at it. Help me out. What advice can you give our members about how to be more successful in this whole arena with this hiring process?
Okay, yeah, that's great. Well, probably the first and the most important thing that I would recommend it, and it's also the one that is most neglected, because most people that are in a position to hire salespeople, they need somebody, they need them quickly, they want to start making sales. They hire based on their, if they're an outgoing, a highly personable person, there's always a tendency to equate that characteristic with somebody that can sell, and that's not always true. So the thing that you really need to do to get started is to take some time and describe your ideal salesperson. So it has to do with their strengths, their abilities, their attitudes, whether or not you need some technical expertise in the product that you're offering or the services that you offer to support that product. Although what you need to remember is those technical parts can be taught. Trying to find the one with the right attitudes and attributes to be a salesperson are a little bit more difficult. So you want to take a look at the skills, the attitudes, the attributes, the experience of somebody that you want. But in addition to that, you have to make sure that they're going to be a good fit with your particular business. Every business has a culture, and I know that sounds like a cliche term, but it does. So everybody has a different management style, a different way that they do business, and you want people that are going to be comfortable within that particular environment. So if you were a coach and you were a football coach and looking for an offensive tackle, you don't want to recruit somebody that's 5'6" and 120 pounds. You want them 6'7" and 300 pounds, and you want them to have quick feet and all that ability. So you got to put that same type of description together for the people that you want, and ask yourself, are these people going to be fun to work with? Do they believe in my product? And am I able to explain my product and services in such a way that they understand it and say, hey, I want to be a part of that. I really like this organization. I understand what you're doing.
Right.
And then you have to give them you got to do that first so you know what you're looking for.
Okay. So you're talking about enthusiasm, not necessarily the gift of gab, right? Or being the typical salesperson that can sell ice cubes to Eskimos and who wants people doing that, right? But some level of enthusiasm, ability to present themselves, a good fit for the culture, right?
Yes.
And it seemed like a motivated individual. Now, what happens a lot, and what I hear from people say, you know what, I have interviews with folks and they come across that way and they seem like they're a good fit and they check all those boxes, and then I hire them and bring them on, and that person I interviewed disappears. It doesn't happen. So how do you fix that problem where you think the person that you interviewed is not the person that ends up joining the team?
Yeah, well, you have to, your responsibility as the interviewer is to realize that you're also being interviewed or sold by the interviewee. So you've got to hone your skills as it relates to asking appropriate questions about the people. And, you can ask them to give you a couple of examples of past successes, and listen to them and watch their body language. If they're rolling their eyes and they're shifting and stuff, they may be making up a story. But if they're saying, well, I did this once and this is what I said and this is how it worked out, it really made me feel good, and that sort of thing. So have them explain their past successes. Ask them why they like to sell. Why did they choose the selling process as a profession? And if they say, well, I could make a lot of money there, then I'm not saying dismiss them out of hand, but those are probably the people that you don't want. You want people that are in the sales business because they love to help people buy things that are beneficial to them. So they're doing it for the benefit of your customers. Because if they do it for the benefit of your customers, the customer is going to have a feeling of being treated correctly and being taken care of, and it's going to become loyal to you and bring in referrals and other business down the road. So you got to develop a good list of questions that you can ask people, and then you need to train yourself to pay attention, not just to the words that they say, but also to their body language. And those two things of name past successes and why did you choose to get involved in sales, and if you want to add after that, why did you choose to become involved in sales in the security industry?
Right.
So the answers to those three questions are going to give you a huge leg up on finding the right people.
Right. Okay. So again, I couldn't agree with you more. So not so much pushing products and features and benefits, but providing solutions, being a solutions provider and having a track record of having done that. And I think that's a key point. I'd like to explore that a little bit more, is this whole, past is prelude. The best predictor of the future is what's happened in the past, right? Because anybody can talk a good game in an interview, but what have they actually done, right? And at the same time, and I think we've talked about this before, and you brought this to my attention several times, is that they're actually selling something when they're in the interview process, right? So
yeah,
watch how they're selling themselves, right? What's the process that they got? Are they pushing hard, or are they talking about your situation, asking you questions about what you need and what fit your, what are you looking for, and how could, and kind of, right? Would you agree that's kind of part of
absolutely. You want people that ask you good questions as well. Like for example, okay, how long is the business? How long have you been in business? What's your growth rate? One of my favorite questions to hear from a potential sales hire is, what do I need to do to prove myself so that I can advance within your organization?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that gives you an indication that people are looking to the future and saying, hey, I want to be a part of this. I want to be able to grow with you. What can I do to help you grow so that I can grow as an individual? So
right.
Look for people that ask good questions.
Exactly right. So how do you feel about this whole concept of goal alignment between, finding out what the goals and aspirations are of the candidate and what you're trying to accomplish as an organization, and meld those two together? How do you explore that particular realm?
Yeah, goals is it's always a tough subject. You can, if you set a goal that's further out than the person that's assigned with achieving that goal can believe they can do, they're never going to reach it. But you can ask them if you want people in your organization that can achieve their personal goals through achieving your goals as a business.
Right.
So ask them what they want to do. Ask them what their personal goals are. You know, how they see themselves in a few years. Don't go past 3. You know, I know they say 3, 5 and 10. Don't do that.
Right.
3 years is far enough in advance. You know, ask them where they'd like to be and how that they think that being successful in this business could help them achieve their goals. Because if people can personalize this and they can see a way that they can get what they want by helping you get what you want,
there you go.
Then they're all in.
That's exactly right. I couldn't agree with that more. So I also agree with the longer time frames. Look, we get them. If you get them going and everything's good after 6 months, they're probably going to hang around. But that's typically the fallout. My experiences in organization we start to work with. Right, there's an 80% churn rate with new folks. If they get past the 6-month mark, you're probably got somebody that's going to be sticking for a while. So that's critical, and making sure that you got that mapped out. So one thing I hear all the time is, well, I don't have a lot of time to keep first of all, just bringing people in and hiring and sitting down and interviewing. It's a very time consuming process. Are there ways of not short circuiting, you don't want to but to expedite that process and making sure you're bringing in good candidates to begin with? So you're pre-screen. Is there ways to pre-screen folks somehow before you bring them in for an actual interview?
Well, if you write a good ad, that's open and honest about what you do, what you provide, what you're expecting from the people that apply. And sometimes, people that are hungry and looking for a job, they're going to ignore the ad anyway and let it go. I worked with one client once that said in big bold letters at the bottom of the ad, "We will only accept applications that are in PDF format." So anything that was entered in Word or something else, they didn't even call them because they weren't able to read and follow directions.
Right.
So you want to make your ad as thorough and as descriptive and fun at the same time. That'll help you get in there. Then if you do what we've just been talking about asking the right questions to get them in, and nothing is for sure. I mean, if you're the best interviewer in the world and you do everything right, you're still only got about an 80% chance of getting keepers.
That's pretty good.
So once that is good. That's way better than the normal. Right. But once you bring them in, then it's a lot of times businesses, I've seen business owners and sales managers bring people in and say, okay, here's your territory, here's your customer list, whatever it is, go to work. And what you have to do is, regardless, let's say you hire somebody that's had 20 years experience in the same industry, but when they come to work for you, they're still brand new because you do business in a different way. Right. You may have a different product mix. You may have a different customer base. There are all kinds of things that are different that they have to have time to adjust to. And it's in your best interest to assign somebody to them that can be their mentor or in-house person to get them up to speed until that person that you assign to them to onboard them, for lack of a better term, correctly, so that they have an opportunity to be successful. And it may take a week in some cases, it may take a month in some cases, but when that person you assign them to says, okay, I am fully confident that this person is 80% ready to go on their own, then you got a much higher percentage of having a high producer that's going to hang around for a long time.
Right. Gotcha. So, one thing I personally like to do is already have a basic, well, first of all, to ask. Say, if you were going to go out and business development is the first starting point. How are you going to get yourself in front of qualified prospects so you've got opportunities at bat? And then we'll talk more about how you're going to bring those deals in. But, I like to ask them that question, like what would your approach be to get yourself in front of qualified folks? And then have a sample action plan. Here's typically how we get you going, and here's typically the very specific action items, and then you manage to those action items to your point, over the first couple of months. Very quickly you can determine whether or not that person is going to be successful, about whether or not they're going to enthusiastically work that plan. How do you feel about that plan? And hopefully they'll have some ideas about maybe changes to the plan. How do you feel about that particular?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent addition to the asking people about their past successes in the interview process. So when they're talking about their past successes, you can incorporate what you just explained to say, okay, what did you do to approach these people, to develop the business, to expand your opportunities, and what kind of a plan did you have in place that you followed to make that happen? And then you can, listen to them, whatever. I mean, obviously, definitely listen to them. But at some point, when it's appropriate, say, this is our plan for going out and finding people. How does that compare to what you've done in the past? How do you feel about that? One thing is a high production salespeople is going to be surprised as hell that you even have a plan, because most businesses don't.
That's right. Throw them to the wolves, right? That's your job.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, those are things, again, that you can incorporate in that interview process. And once you feel comfortable enough to hire them, also put it in that onboarding process to make sure that they work the plan. And one thing that you want to do is you need a place to start. You need a plan, but never think that your plan is the best plan. Always be open to the people that work for you and encourage them to introduce ideas that from their perspective will improve that plan or improve a process that you have. Now they have to make those suggestions with reason. They got to, hey, I think we ought to change this to this, and the reason I think we should do this is because it'll increase this, and this. This how it will benefit me, and this is how it'll benefit the company. So your employees are a huge resource, especially if they're good ones and they're out there on the street all the time.
Right.
Make sure that you listen to them.
Right. Absolutely. And that also creates the buy-in, right? Instead of having something given to them, they're part of I call that the chef analogy, right? To have somebody taste something, it's like, it's okay. Well, what does it need? A little pinch of salt.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great analogy.
Right. Once they throw that pinch of salt in there and they taste it, go, how's it taste now? It tastes fantastic, because it has something to do with it, right? So they're one of the cooks in the kitchen. So that's great. The other thing is always about, we talked about checking their backgrounds and references. How do you feel about, one thing I like to do is, it's great, talk to, past, not current employers, of course, but past employers. But with salespeople, I like to talk to current or past customers and contact them. How do you feel about that kind of an approach?
Well, that's probably a better source than current or past employers, because some employers are a little bit reluctant to say anything negative. Well, some of them will cloud up and rain all over you with the negative, depending on how the parting of the ways was. But the primary purpose of the salespeople, of a salesperson, is to create happy customers. And happy customers are going to say good things about you in the community. They have a higher tendency to buy more products. They have a higher tendency to give you referrals. So talking to past customers is a great indication to find out how the customer was treated. And if there was a problem, how did the salesperson help them get through that problem? And after they bought the product, were they just left alone, or was there great follow-up and somebody calling them up in a couple, 3 days, asking them how they were enjoying things, if they had any questions, whatever that happens to be. You want salespeople that are focused on creating happy clients. That's what every business should be focused on, because the more happy clients you got, the more rapidly you grow. The more people there are out there saying good things about you.
That's the bottom line, right? It's that whole referral stream, right? And most great salespeople, that's where their business comes from.
Yep.
Right? They have to go beat the bushes that much. Well, we've covered a lot of ground. It's a lot of good stuff. I think, immediately would improve the process for a lot of folks. So we're going to summarize those things. Obviously, you'll see it on the video. And Brian, if you want some help in this area, I'm talking now to our audience. If you want some help in this area with and stop me if I'm wrong about what you provide, Brian, but tell us a little bit about how you could directly assist an organization that maybe said, look, okay, that sounds good, but I want some more one-on-one assistance with this? How would they get in touch with you, and how might you help them out?
Well, I have a lot of clients that contact me that they'll say, listen, I interviewed this person on my team, interview them 2 or 3 times. Would you mind talking to them as well? And, to give you some more feedback on an independent third party that's got your best interest at heart, to make sure that you're hiring the right people. When it comes to performance of salespeople, the greatest successes I've had with multiple organizations is salespeople, regardless of how good they are, they're going to run into a challenge, something that just doesn't sit right with them. And what I've found over the years, and I've been doing this for more than 30 years, is that if you have the challenge and you've got somebody that you can talk to, and a lot of sales managers are great for that. I'm not trying to take anything away from a good sales manager, but if there's somebody that your salespeople can go to and say, look, I talked to this customer today. This is what happened. This was the result. What can I do to fix this, make it better, make sure it doesn't happen again? So it's kind of an immediate debrief, and it can be done over the phone, or it can be done like this through a Zoom deal. You don't have to have somebody on site, but the sooner that you can get ticklish situations or challenges resolved, then those are good lessons that you can learn going forward. And just to toot my own horn one bit, I had one large national organization that I would meet with their entire sales team nationwide once a quarter. And the whole thing for an entire day was everybody was supposed to bring their 3 biggest challenges in the quarter that had just finished. And every time we went through them, their sales for the next quarter would go up by as high as 140%. And but the key is you want to encourage salespeople to don't make those same mistakes twice. That doesn't mean they're gonna make more, but having an instant response and instant feedback for something that's going to create a solution is highly powerful.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It always helps to have an expert, fresh set of eyeballs on the situation as well. Sometimes you get too close to the situation, you really can't see what's going on, or you have your own internal biases with somebody coming like yourself that can analyze the situation from an objective standpoint. Can be extremely helpful. So, well, that's fantastic. I'm gonna put links to Brian's information here with a form, probably, if you're interested in getting some help with this whole area. We'll put that down here so they can get in touch with you directly, and we'll summarize some of these very crucial key points as part of the video. And Brian, anything else you want to add to as we wrap up?
No, absolutely. I nothing really special. I mean, it was fun. It's always fun talking with you because we do that regularly, and we've been doing it for a long time. And I was a athletic coach as well as a sales and management and business growth coach for a number of years. And the word coach means that you like to help people succeed. Right. So whether anybody contacts me or not, that's okay. I just hope that the information that I pass along during this podcast is going to be helpful to some people out there to help grow great, successful businesses and also help grow some great, successful salespeople.
Absolutely. Well, actually, you're going to be a regular part of this podcast program, so we'll be coming back, picking your brain on some other topic as we move ahead. And I know you're chomping at the bit to get down to the beach with your gorgeous wife and have some fun down there. So I'm going to cut you loose to go enjoy that. And thanks again, and see you next time.
All right. Thank you, sir. Talk soon.
Bye.